Welcome back to Breakfast Television. It is 7:53. He's known as an all-star goaltender who played 19 seasons in the NHL, but how he got there without parents, living in a home for mentally ill men, without even knowing his last name, is an extraordinary tale of triumph. It's all in his new book, Cujo, and Curtis Joseph joins us now this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm really well.
Good.
Thank you so much for sharing the story. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
It is so extraordinary, and many of us, who followed some of your career really had no idea. Why did you want to write this book?
Yeah, I never really talked about it, and I was a little embarrassed, a lot embarrassed of kind of how I grew up. And but I met my wife 11 years ago, and she wanted to know all about me and would get it out of me and said, "That's an amazing story. You got to write a book." And I'd be like, it's just my life. Is it a great story? But then when I retired, I would do speaking engagements with junior teams and parents, and I would just tell my story a little bit more each time, and people would line up and say, "That's a great story. You should write a book," or "I'm adopted too." And so you saw that you could reach people, and it took me a while, and we had to find the right writer too, which is Kirsty Day.
Yes.
And couldn't have a better writer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about this childhood?
Sure.
I mean, you didn't even know your parents, and you had an adoptive mother that really was not present, to say the least.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was a big dreamer also, and that must be in me. And so I knew they weren't my parents, and I was dreaming about, who they might be, and I'm always a big dreamer. But I eventually did meet them, and they're really great human beings. And but everything kept getting better for me. Like, going to hockey was like my family. The parents would pick me up, and the community rallied and made sure I was there. I was the only goalie, so really the community and my family and my friends were my family, and the teammates were my family, so everything got better.
Everything got better once you discovered hockey.
Yeah,
but you were not like the regular kid that goes through minor hockey, starts playing on the ice at 4. How did you even discover the game?
Well, I would play road hockey, and hockey is our national game, so I would play road hockey from morning to night, and I was never a goalie, and so I couldn't skate, and there was a kid in town that had already paid, so I was allowed to take his spot, and couldn't skate. I was so disappointed. I'd stand there and couldn't skate, so they put me in net. So I always say the position of goalie chose me.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it turned out, it worked out pretty good.
And well, it sure did, didn't it? 19 seasons in the NHL later, right? It worked out very well.
Yeah, it did.
I have to ask you, how did you keep this optimism, especially considering how you grew up? I mean, you were arguably so neglected. I mean, you talk about sleeping where the cats were because your mom looked after the cats better than she ever looked after you.
Right. So as a child, you don't really know any different until you get a little older and you see you go over to your friend's house and you see the family unit, and they play games, and they go to McDonald's, or they go out for dinner, and so then I wanted that life. Sure. And so I was driven to have a better life for myself. So all the tough things that happened to me made me internally stronger, and and I'm an optimist. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. So they worked hand in hand. And certainly I wouldn't trade that childhood for anything, because it made me resilient. It made me tough. Sure it did. It made you absolutely resilient.
What do you hope people take away from this book? Because you're saying it's not just the hockey fans that are really appreciating this book. It's really humans everywhere, right across the board.
Yeah, and so when I give the speech, I would see people's faces, and they were inspired. And so that's the reason behind the book. You want to inspire people that maybe don't have the greatest childhood, or they're facing something, or even adults, you're facing adversity. It's not the end of the world. There's always something better around the corner. And my youngest son, Luke, who's 17, said, "Dad, we were in the car so many hours together driving to hockey." He goes, "Dad, if you can help one kid or one person achieve their dreams, then you've done a good job." And I'm like, wow, that's very insightful, Luke.
No kidding. You raised him well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Curtis, thank you so much for telling us about this, and congratulations on the book. You actually have got a book signing we want to tell everybody out. It's at Chapter's Crowfoot tonight at 7 p.m.
Great, thank you.
Curtis, thank you so much for being here, and congratulations on the book.
Thank you very much.